Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for the gold price prediction based on Elliott wave analysis. Starting on the all-time history for the gold, we have a potential 1 and then 2, 3, 4 and a 5 leading diagonal in zigzag for the wave 1, zigzag for the wave 3, corrective of course for the wave 2. Currently we are looking for a correction for a wave 4, which it might hit of course the lower blue box here, where we would like to hit at least the 0.23 fib level as a minimum target, which is at 1840 for the gold. This is the ultimate bearish scenario right now, of course, for the gold, where you might dive deeper, of course, for a wave 4 in a leading diagonal, 3 waves toward the downside. Perfection for this target would be the 0.38 or even the 0.5 fib level is still as well possible. However, we have, of course, a different scenario before getting so far lower. This is the ultimate bearish, but we have of course a shorter bearish scenario for the gold here, where it might be of course that you have a 3 waves toward the upside. You have 3 waves down and a flat here as a 1 2 3 4 5, so an A, B and a C toward the upside. Your wave C needed to be of course impulsive as 1 2 3 4 and a 5. The wave 4 has to hit of course the minimum target 0.23, 2586, and then moving toward the upside for a wave 5 after this. Meaning that the minimum target for a wave 4, of course, to correct right now is the 2586. If you would like to consider this in a different scenario as well, if we take a look as well on the 60s for the gold, we have kind of a 1-2 here as well, which it can of course unfold as an impulse here for a big wave 1-2, and this impulse that we are looking at right now is a 1 2 3 4 and a 5, can be as well a wave 3 for an impulse, of course, which it can bring a 4 and a 5 even for higher prices one more time, again reaching of course all over the 28k 500, of course, if we are moving for an impulse here on the logarithmic chart, of course. However, basically this scenario is a little bit far for now. I mean, this to be tested, of course, anyway after a wave 4 and a 5, because in both case scenarios you would like to see this wave 4 and a 5 unfolded, and therefore if we get 3 waves down and then continuation impulsively, therefore I call of course an impulse toward the upside as 1 2 3 4 and a 5. So basically this is what I'm looking for right now. Currently I'm looking for the 2586 as a minimum target in all case scenarios, by the way. Breaking this blue box, of course, and if we still seek here after a correction and more impulse toward the downside, meaning 5 waves after 3 waves, meaning of course you are still looking for lower, a wave 4 in a leading diagonal, of course, can be less or more open or aggressive here. So let's dive deeper, of course, in the top of the gold here, where we potentially have topped at 3,500. And of course, we mentioned that the top was very close since we were in the last wave here for the gold. And we're looking, of course, at this correction. Now, this correction doesn't look so much aggressive. Now, I know that it moved down a little bit, but it doesn't look aggressive by all means. You don't see a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 yet. You see, of course, only finished 3 waves toward the downside, as expected to finish, of course, inside this blue box, hitting the 1-to-1 fib level, 100% precision, with this prediction was given as a wave C as 5 waves, of course, after 3 waves down, of course, for a zigzag A, B, and a C. Currently, of course, this looks like a little bit like impulsive, but we said, of course, this might be a zigzag A, B, and a C, extended wave C, and that because, of course, of the intensity of this move toward the upside, we got a very sharp retracement here. Now, basically, you have, of course, an impulse finished here as 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Your wave 4 did not interfere with the zone 1. Let's move inside the 1-hour chart to see it clearer. So as you can see, you have 1, 2, the 1 finished here, ABC for wave 2, wave 3, 4, and a 5. Potentially, that it can be also in this case scenario an A, B, and a C as a zigzag, WX and a Y, but very low possibility. However, it is the same result at the end, whether you have a WX and a Y or you have an impulse finished as a bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. However, what I don't like in this area is a little bit that the wave 3 looks a little bit shorter than the wave 1. Therefore, preferably, if I consider the wave 1 starts from there somehow, and this is your wave 3, 4, and a 5, that would be much more reliable in terms of Elliott wave, of course. Or the wave 1, yeah, is the lowest one here, not this top. Maybe because if we take this as a wave 3, it will be still a little bit longer maybe than the wave 1. This is my problem with it. Only this scenario here, where if you take the fib level, you can see that it is a little bit, not so much, but a tiny gap. Yeah, a tiny gap, smaller, which is not nice as per Elliott wave. Now, it can be, of course, a little bit deviation at the end. Of course, it is impulsive wave. And at the end, the wave 4 did not interfere with the zone 1. So it's a perfect impulse, I would say. But only in terms of the length of the wave 3. It is not allowed to be shorter from the wave 1 and the wave 5. Therefore, it can be here something possible that your wave 1 is in this position as a 1, 2, and this is your wave 3 somehow unfolded. I know that it looks in this way, of course, as well as 3 waves toward the downside, but yeah, maybe also not really perfect for this scenario. But at the end, that's why I was thinking about WX and a Y as well, which it brings us anyway to the same results. So it's not really necessarily to dive very deep in the theory here. At the end, we got exactly what we would like to see, right? 1-to-1 fib level, retracement toward the upside. And obviously this is an impulse, A, B, and a C. And that means after 3 waves down, you might see, of course, now, of course, retaliation again or a rebound for a wave a B, and then moving again toward the upside. So by all means, right now, I'm going to upgrade a little bit here. No need anymore for the ABC here. What I would like to do is that I put the A here finished, the B, and the wave C might still unfold toward the downside. This is a bearish scenario, continuation towards the downside. Now, of course, always there is bullish scenario as well at the same time, in case if something bullish is unfolding, since this is an impulse. So potentially that we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 is simply continuation toward the upside. A signal that we are, of course, moving for higher is, of course, a key level to be watched here, which is the 1-to-1 fib level again. And that means if you reach the 1-to-1 fib level, that means, of course, and that, of course, is the target that you would like anyway, in any case, bearish or bullish scenario to reach. But if you are bearish, you will, of course, continue toward the downside simply. If you are bullish, you would like to hit the 1.618, overshooting is this level, and that means that something bigger is unfolding. You can consider a 4 and a 5 later on, of course, and continuation to take the all-time high. So these are the key levels to be watched, of course, at 1-to-1 fib level, which is the 3,287. So we're gonna see how this is going to unfold. And of course, this invalidation of a bullish was not taken. As you can see, we were looking here in case we are taking the wave 4. This one can be removed right now since we have finished perfectly as an impulse toward the downside, wave C. Okay, so we're gonna watch what's gonna happen, guys. Currently, I'm still looking for higher for the gold, 3,290 around it. We're gonna re-estimate in this area if we move a corrective, or if we move impulsive, or if you overshoot, therefore you are bullish. You're looking even for higher later on, and of course, to take the all-time higher. Otherwise, why we have an impulse? Because, of course, an impulse will simply be fractal and continuation simply toward the upside, having at least a 3 waves toward the upside. This brings us, of course, to a scenario as well, possible for later on for the future, in a wave B expanding flat, meaning it is a very possible that a wave A finishes here. Your wave B gets very extended, which is an expanding flat, and then, of course, getting a massive wave C toward the downside. You can see this scenario happening only in a very strong chart moving toward the upside very aggressively, meaning when you come to a correction and you're very close to a top, the correction get expanding flat with an overshooting wave B. That because of course the investor thinks that we have already corrected and try to enter again in this area, which it make it a little bit aggressive, but basically the flow or the inflow of cash inside, of course, this chart has almost decreased or reduced so far, and it might of course get decreased once you take the all-time high again. Psychologically, many investors will get out again at this area, and of course getting much bigger correction towards the downside. This is how psychology is reflected in those patterns. That was it for the gold. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments. See you in the next one. Bye bye.